soldier playing president, a dreamer with no plan. But while the world whispered doubts, Ibrahim Traoré quietly pulled a lever that would shake the foundations of power. 3 weeks ago, a single signature in Ouagadougou sparked a storm from Paris to Tel Aviv. A secret oil pact with Russia. The ink had barely dried before panic set in. Israel fretted, France erupted, and the old guardians of Africa's resources realized the game had changed. The West dictated the price of Africa's oil. They refined it abroad and sold it back with a 40% premium, a silent tax on sovereignty. But this time, the flow reverses. Under the New Deal, crude stays on African soil, refined by African hands. Traded through a U.S. ruble system that bypasses the old gatekeepers. It wasn't just a $1.8 billion energy project. It was a declaration of independence, written in black ink and burning pride. Inside foreign ministries, alarms rang. Paris demanded answers. Tel Aviv sought leverage. Washington wanted control. Yet Traoré's message was clear. Burkina Faso will no longer ask permission to exist. This wasn't just about oil. It was about power. Who owns it? Who hoards it? And who dares to reclaim it? Take a moment to subscribe. Your support keeps stories like this alive. A quiet revolution was brewing beneath the pipelines. One barrel, one signature at a time. For decades, Africa's riches fueled the world, yet its people lived in the dark. Burkina Faso was no different. Every drop of fuel, every watt of power, every port, every refinery under foreign custody. France didn't just build infrastructure, it built ownership. The CFA, franc, pegged to the euro, was more than money. It was a leash keeping 14 African economies dependent on signatures from Paris. And the energy sector. Imbalance was staggering. Over 80% of West Africa's refined oil came from French facilities, resold across the region at 35% above production cost. Burkina Faso, sitting on untapped reserves worth over $6 billion, was told it wasn't ready to manage extraction. Ready for what? Or for whom? Contracts were written in Paris, profits banked in Europe, debts counted in Ouagadougou. And then there was Israel controlling Mediterranean choke points. Every shipment heading north crossed inspection lanes tied to Israeli logistics, monitored by intelligence hubs. A continent rich in crude, yet poor in sovereignty. Western headlines loved the phrase, resource-rich, infrastructure-poor. But the imbalance wasn't accidental. It was deliberate. So when Traoré signed a deal bypassing these gates, panic wasn't about oil. It was about precedent. If one landlocked nation could break the chain, what happens when others follow? How long can a system built on control survive when the controlled finally learn to build? Take a moment to subscribe. Your support keeps stories like this alive. The year was supposed to bring renewal. Instead, it brought cold. Streetlights flickered out. Hospitals ran generators until diesel ran dry. Classrooms went silent. Mothers boiled water, not for tea, but to keep children warm. Africa froze in the shadow of its own resources. Tankers left West African ports daily. 120,000 barrels worth nearly $9 million, bound for Europe. Meanwhile, Burkina Faso rationed electricity, operated at 37% grid capacity. Desperate, Traoré reached out not in anger, but diplomacy. A fair cooperation model, joint refining, shared profit margins, energy reinvestment within the region. Ice-cold responses, offers ignored, meetings postponed, letters returned with polite silence. Some diplomats called his plan unrealistic. Others laughed behind closed doors. Burkina Faso should focus on stability, not sovereignty. And that was the moment the illusion shattered. It was never about readiness. It was about control. They didn't fear Burkina Faso's failure. They feared its freedom. Freedom, once proven possible, is contagious. It spreads faster than oil, ignites stronger than gas. If this story moves you, take a moment to subscribe. More stories like this are coming. It was a winter of humiliation, but a dawn of determination. As Europe burned African oil, a different light rose, the light of self-determination. When the old world turned its back, who would Africa turn to? Months of cold replies from Paris and Washington ended. Traoré made a decision that would alter African diplomacy. He didn't call Paris, he didn't call Washington. He called Moscow, not out of ideology, but necessity. Better to be criticized for standing than praised for kneeling. The Burkina Faso delegation left under the cover of routine survey missions, their destination secret, their purpose sealed. Moscow didn't lecture. They asked simply, what do you need? Technical expertise, small-scale refining equipment, joint ownership ensuring 70% national profit retention, a $400 million deal structured not as debt, but as energy equity, a model unseen in Africa's post-colonial history. For the first time, Burkina Faso wasn't borrowing its own future. It was building it. Dependence is riskier than defiance. Every decision carried risk. But the lesson was clear. Sovereignty is no longer negotiable. Within government halls, pens met paper. History changed hands. Russia supplied advanced extraction and refining technology, infrastructure, pipelines, refineries, all on sovereign soil under Burkina Faso's National Energy Authority. No foreign flags, no beta clauses. They owned their oil completely. Even more revolutionary human capacity. For every Russian engineer to Burkina trainees, within 5 years, over 320 local engineers fully qualified to operate independently. This was more than oil. It was empowerment. And the world noticed. Leaks reached Western embassies. Paris called it betrayal. Israel heightened surveillance. Washington expressed concern. Yet, in Ouagadougou, life moved forward. Refineries rose. Oil flowed. Energy credits shifted to us to ruble hybrids and gold-backed accounts. Western threats became background noise. Take a moment to subscribe and join the journey of stories that ignite change. The people felt the shift. Markets stayed calm. Young Africans, long told to wait, now believed standing firm could be profitable. Traore turned diplomacy into a battlefield where sovereignty itself was the prize. The West scrambled. Questions burned. What happens when a nation refuses to bow and discovers it never needed permission? At the African Union Assembly, Traore spoke with calm steel. We will not starve for your approval. You call our independence destabilizing. I call your control colonialism. Partners don't threaten. Masters do. Applause erupted. Some delegations walked out. Social media exploded. Murals appeared from Lagos to Dar. Hashtag we own our oil. This wasn't just geopolitics, it was an awakening. Africa exports over $150 billion in raw materials yearly, but imports 80% of refined products at inflated prices. That's not cooperation. That's extraction disguised as friendship. If this inspires you, subscribe now. Stories like this are changing how the world sees power. Within months, the blueprints spread. Mali, Niger, Ghana, South Africa, all exploring similar frameworks. African nations pooling resources, technology, and trade routes. A West African energy bloc. Estimated $70 billion value internalized regionally. Instead of lost to foreign intermediaries. Oil became dignity. Sovereignty became infrastructure. By 18 months, Burkina Faso's refinery hit full capacity. 20,000 barrels per day, meeting domestic needs. Exporting surplus. Revenues topped $480 million annually. No IMF, no Western supervision. Energy independence was real. By 2027, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger co-founded the West African Energy Coordination Framework. Trading in mixed reserves, USD, ruble, gold-backed units. What started as one deal became a doctrine, a political awakening, economics fused with ethics. Take a moment to subscribe. Every voice matters in stories like this. Oil, once a symbol of exploitation, became a declaration of independence. Traore said it best. Possibility once proven cannot be unproven. If one small nation can rewrite its destiny, what stops the rest? The echo is unstoppable. From a single contract in Ouagadougou to continental conversations about freedom, sovereignty became lessons for young Africans. Power isn't granted. It's built by those who believe in their own capacity. Sovereignty is infrastructure, a mindset, a discipline. Every trade deal, every barrel, every choice, a building block of freedom. One small nation chose courage over compliance, igniting a continent. So, ask yourself, if one voice can awaken millions, what will yours do? Subscribe now, share this story, and be part of the awakening. The fire has begun, and this time it burns for freedom, not approval.